Mm. Yes, assalamu alaikum. This is Clifton Raheem Bradley. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or whatever time you're looking at this, because you could be looking at this at any time. I'm in the United States. I'm in Chicago, Illinois right now. And you know you're what I'm going to talk about. And when my guests come on, we're going to be talking about the news. And what is going on in the news? I'm gonna start doing more broadcasts like this. But I know that y'all want me to hurry up and get to the point. I know. But the thing is, what is going on in the news? I will be taking telephone calls. Okay, but it'll be a situation where I will retrieve the calls and repeat them. Okay. Yeah, assalamu alaikum, brother. How you doing, brother?
Doing
Prophet,
well. How are you?
Prophet Johnson. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well.
Okay. So you know what? Thank you. And you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at news stories and we will be taking telephone calls, but you won't be able to be heard on air. You know what? I'm not in a big studio, I'm in a little studio.
Okay.
Okay. So and you see this picture, Donald, you see this picture up in thumbnail of Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. I don't know why I said his name first, though. But Johnny, you know what, brother? You know what? Before we get started, brother, tell us about yourself and your platform, brother.
Oh yeah, I am Prophet Johnson. I have a podcast called The Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation, or on Twitch just as Truth and Conversation, and it's a teaching ministry. And basically, I'm just correcting a lot of error and falsehood that's being taught, that's ever growing in what is called the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm just setting the record straight and just debunking all the lies.
Mm-hmm. I like that. You ain't playing no games. I got it, brother. So you know what? Like I say, this is Underground Railroad, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about current news and historical news. But like I say, there's a big election that is coming up in year 2024, November the 4th, and Donald Trump. Trump, I don't think so. And Joe Biden, man. I mean, I want to know, man, as you sit down and look at this race, first of all, what is your assessment? What do you feel about? What's your feelings about? I'm gonna ask you about both of them since I'm interviewing you. What are your feelings about current President Joe Biden? Do you think that he's doing a good job? He's a great steward over, running this country. Is he doing a great job?
Well, it depends on what you call it. So in terms of the economy, foreign and domestic, and foreign affairs, I don't know, give them a C. But in terms of a lot of domestic issues, not so much. Not so much.
Mm. 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 You know what? When former President Donald Trump was in office, did you feel he did a great job? He was in the after. What was your feeling? What are your feelings about Donald Trump and the reign that he held when he was in office? I'm gonna say before the COVID, but I guess I can't say that. But I'm gonna say, what did you think about him, brother?
Well, I mean, okay, I think it could be fair to look at his presidency with the exception of COVID. If you extract the COVID situation from his presidency and look at that, because I mean, I don't think he actually started COVID, so I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I still think he did a horrible job.
Okay.
The I think people forget. People try. No, I think people have selective amnesia
Mm-hmm.
that the economy was already failing,
Mm-hmm.
before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time Obama left office, when Obama came into office, things were pretty bleak
Mm-hmm.
economically. And by the time he left, we were in a better place. And Donald Trump did not continue the economy on the track that Obama left. He was more focused on tearing down everything that Obama did,
Mm-hmm.
which, some of the things would not have been so bad, but some of the things, but he was intent on tearing down everything Obama did, irrespective of, indiscriminately tearing down what Obama did. So I think that hurt the economy, it hurt the country, it hurt his governance. And that's before you get into his persona and his leadership
Mm-hmm.
as a person, his
Mm-hmm.
example that he sets for the country, which
Mm-hmm.
was a F minus.
Wow. F minus. Okay. F minus. And when we look at the temperament of both of these men, that I am sure that former President Donald Trump will be the nominee for the Republican Party. When we look at the temperament of former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden, what is your opinion about both of their temperaments when it comes to running and being stewards over this country?
Well, Joe Biden, I feel like he has a good temperament for most of our international affairs
Mm-hmm.
or international relations. And I put, if I want to give a grade, I would say a B,
Okay.
low B
Yeah, low
for
B.
international relations,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and for his domestic demeanor, I want to say low C.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. Go ahead. Okay.
yeah. So on the economy, um, probably get. I want to say, if I was being fair, probably say I would say a strong C as far as the economy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
as far as yeah, that's how I will sum it up.
Okay. And when we sit there, but you know what? When we sit down and really examine the temperament of both of these men, okay, would you say that President Joe Biden, that he has lost some of his faculties, and we all have lost our faculties as we continue to age, what we start to lose some of our thinking capabilities, and we slow down. And like me, I had this phone and I just put it down and I forgot where I put it a couple minutes ago. Would you say that President Joe Biden has exhibited some of those tendencies of aging? and aging
Yes.
not gracefully, because I happen to believe, and I'm asking your opinion, that most of these world leaders, they're sharp. I'm not talking about like sharp with a knife. I'm talking about intellectually.
Well, I'm, you know, the only role that plays, I mean, it's a significant role, but
Mhm.
it's not a detrimental role
Okay.
that plays, which is that it's, I don't think it sets the best image,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's catastrophic
Okay.
because him and the mental state that he's in, it doesn't look very good.
No.
But I'm not of the persuasion that somehow that puts us at a disadvantage uh diplomatically, as if someone's going to take advantage of us, because he represents America. He's not America. He represents America.
Yes. 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 And would you say that former President Donald Trump, would you believe that there are leaders that would think twice about doing things that were counterproductive to the United States, because they would think the consequences might be a little more harsh, opposed to what President Joe Biden would do?
All right, so if we're talking about the Ronald Reagan effect, we've already shown that the Ronald Reagan effect was a mirage,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
not real at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and when I say the Ronald Reagan effect, I'm speaking of countries that may be looking to do us harm,
Mm-hmm.
attack our adversary, stuff and things like that. I don't think we're at any greater risk under Biden versus Trump. What may be different about Trump and Biden in terms of uh, countries that may be less apt
Mm-hmm.
to test us will have to do with NATO.
Okay.
Countries like that, like countries that's supposed to be allies with us in terms of carrying their fair share.
Yeah.
So I think under Trump, I think he's put them on notice that he's expecting them to pay their dues and be uh, equitable partners in the alliances that we have.
Yeah. Would you say that he's wrong?
No.
Okay. But when we look at it, I would like to ask you, what was your feelings about former President Donald Trump taking money, or taking capital and funds away from Iran because they were a threat to developing nuclear capability, and it was next to Israel, and they have proxy militaries, not soldiers all over the globe to raise havoc? What was your views about that? And I have a follow up after that. Yellow.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I said
There
what?
was
I
some
said what? I said
distortion.
what? I said
Distorted your
what were
question.
your
Can you hear
views
me?
about? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. What were your views about former President Donald Trump
Okay.
extracting and taking money and freezing capital that Iran had, and they was coming close to developing nuclear capability, and they would have been a threat to Israel, and former President Donald Trump froze a lot of their assets? What did you think about that? because he thought it was a threat to the Israelis.
I think he's people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
A segment of his base.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's yeah. So that's it. I don't think he's sincere about that. But as far as that particular decision, irrespective of the intent or the authenticity of it, it's to me that's just politics. That's what I see. I see politics. He's chosen a side in that conflict, and that's what he's decided to do. Just like we've chosen sides when it comes to certain NATO countries versus other countries. This is an execution of our politics.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Was it right for current President Joe Biden to unfreeze the assets, knowing that Iran was militarily supplying proxy militaries in their region to cause havoc, to renew and give them everything they had lost back? Was that right?
I mean, I can't say. I don't think I could say right or wrong on that. Again, it's a decision, a political decision, based on their foreign policy that apparently it shows a bit of a shift to probably a more equitable treatment between those particular enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Which they have, they can do that. I mean, I can't say that either decision was right or wrong.
Was it a benefit? So you can't answer whether it was a benefit to America, rather to freeze those assets or to give it back to them. You cannot say.
Well, okay. So was it a benefit? Well, you have to go back to our foreign policy, which tends to shift. So what is it? What is our foreign policy today? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So our foreign policy is shifted more towards the Islamic world. Okay, I mean that's just as good as any other decision.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was trying. You know what? I was just trying to get your position. To me, it's something to examine. And you know what? You have two men. Okay, one believes in the right to life. One does not believe in the rights to life when it comes to abortion. Which one do you think is better for this nation? I said, each state have the opportunity to choose for themselves. Which man is making the right decision, in your opinion?
I am a strong proponent for life.
Okay.
And there's no two ways about it. I am not middle ground or anything. There's a right to life. It's wrong to kill embryos, infants, fetuses, what's the word? Zygotes. All of that is wrong. So, again, I don't think Trump really cares one way or the other, except that, whichever side will get him the most votes.
Well, I was talking about their current policies. Which one do you think is best? The whether they're pretending, not pretending, the best approach, you said, is pro-life.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a man that is anti-life, and you know what? When we look at current news right now, you know what? There's a situation going on where females will be held accountable for freezing their embryos if something happens to those embryos, because a lot of people want to classify them as people. Do you think that's right or wrong?
That's an interesting question. But I think I kind of just answered it.
Okay.
Because basically, as I recall this from the story, what we have are zygotes,
Yes.
which means you have a fertilized egg.
Mm-hmm.
That is, in fact, when life begins
Mm-hmm.
by design.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's the right decision. And I know you got there's a few parties, a few couples I've seen interviewed, and they're a bit disturbed by it because they're heavily invested. And I'm not sure the circumstances, but I'm pretty sure there's some circumstances. Well, at least they paint the picture. I hate to. I'm not speaking to everyone's situation, but it seems like to me that there are people kind of exaggerating their seems like some are exaggerating their position,
Mm-hmm.
because they're I'm trying to remember the whole story. I think like some of them are freezing these zygotes, if I remember,
Yeah.
for the purpose of later use when their children or maybe themselves may want to create some stem cells. I'm not sure, but at least some of them are anticipating having children. And I'm not completely sympathetic, because I think we got to stop letting science interfere with the natural process.
Yeah.
Because I could understand people who go through in vitro fertilization
Okay.
because they're having difficulties getting pregnant by their husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a very narrow area. They're having trouble getting pregnant by their husband, so they use some type of in vitro fertilization. Now, some of the practices that they go into after that, like freezing the eggs for several years, I'm not sure why they do that, but it seems unethical in some kind of way, because I don't understand why, if you're donating these eggs and this sperm today, why they can't be fertilized today and implanted within a reasonable amount of time, not months and years later.
Okay. You know, man, you know what, man, and that's a great point. And you know, as we go further, we look at other news stories. I want to ask you about, we look at the situation of immigration. Which president do you think takes the best approach towards immigration at this time? As we know, there are thousands that are coming across the borders, okay, and being shipped to sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, and California. Which president, former President Donald Trump or Joe Biden, takes the best approach when it comes to immigration? Okay, and it's also in the news that there are, I recently saw there are Chinese, there are dissidents that are coming in from that border. But who takes the best approach towards immigration when we both I sit down and examine the plan of President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, and why?
I think I would say Donald Trump, but not by much.
Okay.
Not a ringing endorsement of his policies versus Joe Biden,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not so much what he does or
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much what his policy is as the way he presents his policy,
Okay.
because he presents his policy as anti. It's just, that's the problem with it. He makes it like antagonistic,
Yeah. I got to follow up when you finish. Go ahead.
right? So if his tone was different, it would be more palatable.
How would that change matters? Do you not, when you go to Europe, do you not need a passport when you go to Europe? Do you need a passport when you go to Africa? Do you need a pass? Do you need some type of documentation once you go into Canada? Do you not? If I'm not, correct me. Correct.
I mean, if you put it like that, it sounds great. But when
is it true? Is it factual?
Again, when you put it like that, it's fine. But when you start making everybody murderers and rapists and all this kind of stuff, then people want to question. You make people just feel a different kind of way about something that should be done, right? So I think something should be done. Something ought to be done about immigration. Immigration needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
But when you present it the way that Donald Trump does, he doesn't make you want to really act. He's not doesn't feel like a call to action that is just.
So you need to be.
It seems like a call. It seems like a call to action to hate.
So he should be kinder and gentler in his delivery. Is that what you're saying? He should be kinder and gentler. Is that what you're saying?
No, he should just present the facts. Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Kinder and gentler. Are they not emptying jails in some of these regions? Are they not sending in people that are dissidents, people that they don't want because they are an impediment to the society? Is there not any truth to that?
I don't know. I'm sure it's obviously some criminals in the mix.
Okay.
And that's a repeated theme with immigration in the U.S., where people send us their criminals. And we should be aware of that and act accordingly. But we have a president that I don't know, who I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand his immigration policy. It's like he's bent on immigration like it's a inalienable right, but inalienable rights, according to our documents that conveys those rights, is preserved for citizens of the United States, not those seeking citizenship in the United States.
These individuals, that do you think that these individuals that are coming in through these to these sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, and California, at some point they will influence elections. And Democrats will most likely benefit from what I see, because these people that you're letting in, most of them, they're going to aid the Democratic Party. Do you think that those immigrants that come in could be weaponized through the ballot to help the Democratic Party?
I think that's
uh-huh.
I think that's far off. I really don't think that's the aim
Okay.
of this immigration. I feel like either this is some misguided sense of justice by Biden and who is by Biden, but is being promoted by a special interest group, and or there's some need to grow the population immediately, as in some anticipation of a war.
Yeah. Do you? Well, let me ask you a question in a different way. Do you suspect? Is it a possibility the majority of people that are coming across these borders are poor, disenfranchised? Do you assume that the majority of them, once they do become eligible to vote, they're going to vote for the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, since they are coming from impoverished nations? They would be more sympathetic, because the Democrats have a tendency to give the image that they support the individual that's on the low end of the totem pole. How do you think that the average individual is going to vote, Democrat or Republican, since they're coming from impoverished nations and they know how it feels to be on the low end of the totem pole?
My guess is a lot of other people coming over are Democrats. I mean, if they had the opportunity to vote, would probably vote Democratic. I mean, I have nothing to base that on except for, economic status. Yeah.
So it's a possibility that they're being let in to be weaponized. It's a possibility at the voting ballot. Let me ask you, when we talk about immigration, is that I'm not going to say a fear, is that a concern of yours that there are Chinese dissidents that are coming in through the Texas borders? It doesn't matter to you one way or the other?
I don't think I'm concerned with the Chinese any more than anybody else.
Okay. So whatever them coming through the borders, is not a possibility that spies and saboteurs could be coming in to the United States? Is that not a possibility?
I mean, I think we got a lot of spies coming in. I got a problem with spies from, I don't know, from Argentina. Let's see, from Yugoslavia. Maybe from Thailand. I don't know. I don't care where they're from. It seems problematic.
Man, when we look at the news, okay, and we look at things, the environment, and we look at the ecosystem. You have one former president that believes that the United States, to bring energy costs down, that we should frack, baby, frack. Frack means to break up the land, to get these precious materials to run our automobiles. And one president, so we won't be dependent on other nations. One president says that we need to preserve and not drill like in Alaska and these other places. Who do you think has the best approach for the ecosystem and the people in the United States of America? When you examine what former President Donald Trump wants to do and Joe Biden when it comes to the ecosystem, which would be better for the people?
Well, Joe Biden actually has a environmental plan.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump does not.
Now he said frack, baby, frack, but you're right. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's his plan, which is not well. I mean, he has a plan, but he has a plan to negatively affect the environment.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, who has the best approach and why?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's Joe Biden because he's actually acknowledging the environmental challenges.
Yes.
He's actually acknowledging global warming and the things that we are doing and plan to do can have negative consequences on our planet for generations to come.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you know what? And then by the fracking, does it not? Would you educate me? Does that not mess up the ecosystem? Because think with the fracking, when one little organism or one mammal or something dies in an ecosystem or becomes extinct, does it not affect the rest of the ecosystem? Does it?
Yeah. So, well, besides that, what fracking does is like, and this has happened before.
Mm-hmm.
It weakens the basically the earth,
Okay.
you know, the different layers of the earth, so that the earth will just start caving in. And because of fracking, there have been people sitting in their houses, minding their own business, and all of a sudden their house falls underground and people have died.
Okay. Well, you know, when you really sit down and think about it, when we look at the economy, then after 2024, who do you think has the best economical plan? Former President Donald Trump or Joe Biden, and why?
Economic plan, the best economic plan. It would be definitely, well, I would say, I don't know, but I don't trust Trump's plan.
You say you don't know?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Trump's plan.
Why? What is the reason you don't trust his plan, and what is it about his plan that you don't like? What is?
Don't trust him.
No, I'm not asking. I'm saying, what are the aspects? What is your rationale for saying that you do not care for former President Donald Trump's plans? What are some? Can you name some integral parts that you just don't trust? I would share that with our audience.
Him.
No, I'm saying
No, I
aspect.
don't know any particulars of his plan besides fracking, um, and giving tax breaks to the wealthy. Other than that, I don't know.
So you don't like giving tax breaks to the wealthy. You think that it should be distributed to the individuals that are poor and disenfranchised and people that are middle class, not multi-million-dollar corporations. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that the tax schedule is probably, well, I know he favors the rich with his tax plans, and there's a philosophy of when you give more money to the rich, then that money trickles downhill and all of that. But that's becoming less and less true, if ever it was true.
Some people have the premise that these rich people, and I don't, but I'm interviewing you. Some people have the theory that these rich people and corporations are going to put the money back into the system by buying and purchasing things. And you're not in compliance with that, not at all.
Well, I don't believe that because as a philosophy, because poor people put more money back into things than rich people. Well, let me see. Probably. It's at worst comparable. I'm pretty sure.
Who do you when we really sit down and look at both of these men, and you know what, half of the nation likes both of them. Who do you think would be a better steward over the United States of America after the November 2024 election? Who do you think, in your assessment, will be a better steward, a better leader for the United States of America? Because there appears to be only two choices, So who do you think and why?
Yeah, I'll probably go with Biden just because he's is more seasoned as a diplomat, and he's not talking so much like a hothead that's ready to start a war. I think he's more respectable and the international community.
He's more respectable. And it's interesting. You know what? I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm not going to give my comments because you know what? I am interviewing him. And I am trying to be biased, and it might not have been like a biased interview, but you know what? I had different views, but like I said, that was not the focus of me producing this show. The focus of me producing this show is to hear other people's perspectives and hear other people's viewpoints. Okay. And you know what, brother? I appreciate you coming on this platform. And I just have to ask these type of questions in that way. And I have to ask questions critically because there's other people that think the other way. And I have to play. I'm sort of like playing ping pong. I got to play the nice guy. I got to play the bad guy. I got, for me to give a decent interview, I have to play two sides against the middle. But brother, I appreciate you coming on. And you know what, brother, you've been talking for almost 45 minutes, brother. Is there a specific message that you want to put out to the people that choose to look at this broadcast, whether it's the morning, evening, afternoon? Okay, and this broadcast, you can use this in the future for case studies to know what we were going through in year 2024. Okay, but is there a specific message, a something that you wanted to say that I didn't give you the opportunity to say?
Well, as always, I want to invite everyone to tune in to the Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation every Sunday at 10 a.m. and learn to ride the wave of truth.
Okay. Any other message? How do they get in? How do they get in contact? How do they get in contact with you? Where's your YouTube page? Where's your Facebook page? Where's your pages? How they can get in contact with you?
So that is that the Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation is accessible on all major podcast platforms, YouTube, Twitch. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. And yeah, so yeah, you come on, we have conversations like so. I'm sorry, I was trying. You know what? I'm trying to get I was trying to simulcast this on my Twitch. But
okay.
You know, I've been having difficulties with that. But no, yeah, I'm on all the major platforms, YouTube and Twitch. So I'm not hard to find.
Okay. Yeah, no. For me, you have been looking at the Underground Railroad podcast. We are in Chicago, the United States. And I will be doing more shows talking about this presidential election as it winds down and current events. That's what this channel is all about. It does not mean I can't have a baseball player, a drug addict on, somebody that's working to transform their lives. Okay, maybe who knows? It might get a prostitute on that is working to transform her life, and she has changed her life. But I'm working to get all type of people on, and we do a TV show in Chicago every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. But we come on YouTube 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and we do video production in Chicago. Since the pandemic hasn't been that great, but you know what? But I'm still rich. And I would hope that you would share this. I'm talking to you. I hope that you would share this broadcast. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Because you give me a thumbs down, you're not hurting me. You helping to make me better. You helping to make me better by giving me constructive criticism, because this is how we grow. This is how we grow. Not by always getting pats on the back and saying that's my main man. This is how we grow. We grow with constructive. I'm a big boy and I can take it. Okay. So I want to thank you, brother, for coming on. And don't forget to make a donation, because I'm going to put the PayPal account information in there. Use vidIQ. This helps you with keywords, which I ain't been using it well, but this is what I do. So if you have something you want filmed, you want something filmed in Chicago, you want an event, party, but mitzvah, this is what I do for a living. But, okay, brother, I appreciate you accepting the invitation, and tune in to his show. Tune in, support what the brother's doing. Support. Thank you, brother.
The Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation every Sunday at 10 a.m.
All right, that's a commercial. That's good. That's good, brother. All right, brother. All right. So, I want to thank everybody, and you know what? This has been delightful. I'm going to be doing more broadcasts like this, talking about the news, talking about current events, because I'm a chaser of the news, and I love looking at the news. Okay, and I'm definitely going to be talking about the presidential election that I believe is going to be between former President Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And I did not give my opinions. I think when I'm interviewing somebody, I don't really, I shouldn't give my opinion, but sometimes I guess I'm transparent. But you know what? I have to play two sides against the middle because you know what? I want to make the interview interesting, entertaining, and all that. But you know what? But I got a hell of a long way to go to get to where I want to go. So all praises due to Allah, and I want to greet everybody in the words of Assalamu alaikum. It's being peace and blessings be upon you. And you can use this show for case studies in the future to my future grandkids and my future granddaughters. This is how your grandfather was. He tried to stand up for truth. And consider Islam to my future grandkids and my future grandsons. This is me. All right, Assalamu alaikum.